Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1 and 2. Check, hello, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Check, 1, 2. Check, check. Hello, everybody. Check, check, 1, 2. Check. Check, check, 1, 2. Hello, hello. Check, check. Check, 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 1, 2. Check, check, 1 and 2. Hello, hello. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check. Check, check. 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Check. Check, check, 1, 2. Check. Hi Leo, 你好. Hi Peter. Peter, this is a Chinese 2 class, so maybe it's too easy for you. I know you're taking AP. Leo, let me know if it's louder now. Looks like it's pretty loud on my end. Leo, let me know. Okay, great. We'll start at 1:10, so we'll wait a little bit, and I don't know if there's going to be more people coming, but yeah, just wait a little bit. Oh, and I also need to set up the Google Meet, just in case anybody want to join the class. And here's a meeting code. Okay, so this is a Google meeting. Okay, Google Meet code for my students only. Oh, Peter, if you are still there, I'm also going to do a live stream before the AP makeup exam. So I'm going to schedule it today or tomorrow. And you're welcome to join. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat. I will spend 30 minutes-ish before the AP exam to answer your questions if anybody needs it. Of course, you got it. Good luck with the makeup exam, Peter. Hi Nicole, 你好。Let me post the link again for the Google Meet. You need to join the Google Meet with our school account. Oh, Yan's there. Hi, Yan. Can you hear me? Hi, Yan. Hello?
Hello?
And Leo. Test 1, 2. Leo, if you're. Hi, okay. All right, so I'll wait for another maybe like 4 minutes ish. All right.
How's quarantine?
What did you say?
How's quarantine?
Corn?
How's quarantine?
Quarantine. Oh, I think everybody's getting used to that already, haven't you? I'm fine. You know, I think I basically transferred all the work to YouTube. So I'm still doing pretty much the same. How about you, Leo?
I've been getting along. Yeah.
Yeah, are you keeping up with the
School,
schoolwork?
kind of.
Kind of.
I've been doing everything last minute.
Okay,
So
that's good.
kind of bad. I wish I could just do it, on the spot when the teacher posts it. But it's
Yeah,
kind of hard.
yeah, definitely. It's definitely challenging, but at least you're doing it. That's great. I'm starting to write the recs and raves, and I'm thinking about like who's gonna ask me the rec next year or in the future.
Oh, me.
And
I'm
it's
definitely
like
gonna make sure to get wrecked for me.
if you if you never showed up to my class and you ask from your rave, I don't know what you write.
Exactly.
So
Gotta save
yeah,
that in the future.
good behavior is gonna pay off in the future, I guess.
Hmm.
All right, well, wait for 2 more minutes. Okay, I'm gonna turn you down a little bit. Hi Anna, 你好. Hi Tina, 你好. Ooh, so ever since just because I say that to you, Leo, now everybody's like trying to say something on the chat. Like, Mr. Joe, I'm here. Right, Tina? I think, all right, gonna turn down the music. We're gonna get ready, and we're about to start. I was just kidding. Let me see. Have I switched myself on the screen? Hi, Olivia, 你好. Hold on. Hi, Olivia.
你好.
Oh, 你好. All right, so we will get started. Hello, everybody. 大家好. This is me. Hold on. My son's messing up with the garage door. I'll just wait until the door's closed. It's pretty noisy. Okay. All right. I think he's. What? think he's just playing with it. If he doesn't stop, I'm gonna go and yell at him.
Oh no. Oh no.
All right. Hello, everybody. 大家好. Welcome to Mr. Cho's Chinese class. So we'll get started. We have finished lesson 18 in the past weeks, right? And we did a little bit review. See, he's playing with the garage door. Can you hear it? Is it like?
It's not that obvious.
Okay.
It's like background noise.
All right. So we're gonna move on to the last 2 units. I need to post the what is called the second assessment as soon as possible. I think it's due sometime soon, so I will try to do it today. And that's gonna be the last assessment for this school year. And also, this is lesson 19 and 20. It's going to be the last unit of the school year. I usually put it together because both units are about traveling, anyways. But we'll see how much we can cover. I guess we'll have to skip some parts. So nevertheless, I think it's a pretty useful topic. So not at the moment, but hopefully eventually. So let's take a look. All right, so here are a couple of words that I highlighted in red. First one, 城市. 城市 means city. Leo, can you read after me? 城市.
城市。
城市.
城市。
Okay, very good. And Olivia, can you read the next one with me? 旅游.
旅游
旅游.
旅游
Excellent. So 旅游, it can be used as a verbal noun, means the tourist or to travel, or tourism, tourist. No, not tourist, not a person. 旅客 is the person. 客 like the 客人的客. 旅客 is a tourist. 旅游 is to travel, or just like travel as a noun. So I have 2 questions for you guys. 你知道几个中国的城市? So let's take turns, starting from Yan. All right, everybody say one city until you cannot come up with what anymore. Yan,
Okay.
first city. 再说一遍.
北京
Okay, Beijing is taken. Next, Leo.
Wait, is Yunnan a city? Or is
No,
it like
it's not a city. It's a province.
Oh, okay. What about Chengdu? Is Chengdu a place?
Yes,
I don't know.
Chengdu is a place. Chengdu is a city. Okay, Chengdu is a city in Sichuan province where the pandas are. So
Oh.
it's a pretty nice city. I went there a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed the trip there. Except for it's too hot in the summer, but it's hi Victoria, 你好. But it's very hot in the summer everywhere. So Olivia, do you know any other cities? We have Beijing, Chengdu,
纽约
纽约. Okay, well, we're asking 中国的城市. 中国的城市.
Oh, Shanghai.
Shanghai. Okay. I mean, if you want to put New York as a, we can transfer the ownership.
I thought it was cities in general.
Okay, so 中国的城市. All right, so that is fine. Don't worry. So Shanghai. Okay, so we have Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu. All right, second round is going to be much more difficult. Most people probably only know Beijing, Shanghai. So Yan.
温州
Oh, Wenzhou. Okay, so Wenzhou is a city, right? Wenzhou is a city. A lot of Chinese immigrants in New York are from Wenzhou or Fuzhou. So those are I know a lot of there's a major Chinese population from there. Even though Wenzhou and Fuzhou sound similar, they're I guess they're completely different because the Wenzhou language is very unique. Leo?
Oh yeah, I heard it. It's so weird. Guangzhou, is that a place?
Guangzhou is not a city.
No.
Guangzhou is a province. So, but the city in Guangzhou, the capital, is called
Guangdong? I don't know.
Hey, hold on. Oh, you're right. I'm wrong. Guangdong is the province. Guangzhou is the city.
Oh, let's go.
Okay, all right. So you are right. I was wrong.
Yay.
So Guangzhou is a city. So Guangzhou is ranked kind of like a number 3 city in the recent years there's a term called 北上广, which is Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, because of the all the manufacturing business, and Guangzhou is becoming a very important like manufacturing hub sort of, and I think people like when the iPhone hype was kind of like extreme a couple of years ago, people want to like line up camp to buy the iPhone or pre-order the new iPhone when it's released. A lot of people just like order it, and then you can see from the tracking information it's shipped from Guangzhou to Hong Kong and then to New York or wherever in America. Hi Victoria, you just joined. So we're talking about cities in China. We covered Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu, Fuzhou, Wenzhou, and Guangzhou. Right, and interestingly, like all those cities, something Zhou, right? They are all coastal cities in the southern China. Wenzhou, Fuzhou, Guangzhou, they are all like coastal cities. Victoria, do you know any other cities in China? Another city in China that we haven't talked about yet?
No,
No.
I don't.
Okay, we'll skip you then. Olivia.
Nanjing.
Oh yes, Nanjing. We have Beijing, and then of course we have Nanjing. I bet you know Nanjing too, Victoria. So Nanjing is another city, pretty important historical city, and it's been the capital for many different regimes or dynasties, and it's pretty close to Shanghai. So if you take the people are talking about high-speed railroad in China, pretty a lot in the recent years, and so if you take a high-speed railroad to Gaotie, from Shanghai to Nanjing, I think it only takes like a couple of hours, 1 or 2 hours maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but it's relatively pretty quick. Let's take a look at the chat. Ringxi said Qingdao. Yes, Qingdao is a beautiful city. I went there a couple of years ago when I went back to China too. It's a pretty nice city. Unfortunately, according to my parents' generation, I went with my wife's family, and my father-in-law was in Qingdao when he was younger, and he was saying like it used to be nicer, it used to be cleaner, it used to be I don't know, from his memory, it seems to be like much nicer. But Qingdao is the city that has the famous Chinese beer, Qingdao Pijiu. I don't know if you guys should know that or not. Probably not. So that's the only Chinese beer probably that is widely available in overseas. And the reason that beer is so famous has something to do with the history that Qingdao, the city of Qingdao, was occupied by German back in the days. So they took the German or Belgian brewing technique sort of there, and they kept it. So they have the best beer according to, I don't know according to whom. A lot, just the most famous Chinese beer, I guess. So Qingdao is also very famous for the beach. I think I explained in a class in China. There are not a lot of like good beaches because the major rivers, the Yellow River by the name, it's yellow, very muddy, and the Yangtze River as well. The whole city of Shanghai was kind of like sand and dust accumulated over the years. So you can imagine how much mud and is in the water. So the we don't like in China. There's not a lot of like a white sand beach, but Qingdao has a pretty nice beach. And if you want to go to another beach in China, probably you have to go all the way south to Hainan, which is like the southern tip of China. So, anyways, overview of some of the cities. 如果你有机会去中国旅游，你想先去哪里呢？ Victoria. Okay. You skipped the question, so I'm coming back to you. Based on all the cities we talked about, 你想先去哪个城市? We have Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu, which is the pandas, which is where the pandas are. Qingdao, where you have the Qingdao beer and you have the beach. Wenzhou, Fuzhou, probably a lot of the students in our school are from there. And Guangzhou, the IT manufacturing hub. Which one are you most interested? Victoria? 你想去哪里？
I'd probably 我想去上海。
你想去上海？为什么？
因为 it has the most tourists, I guess.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say 因为 Mr. Cho's from Shanghai and you wanna go there.
Wait, aren't you from a city like a village away from Shanghai?
Me?
Yeah, or
kind
like were
of.
you born in Shanghai?
But it's like you say like you're from Queens, and then when you go overseas, you're gonna say, "Oh, I'm from New York." You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. Yeah, okay, I get it. Okay.
all right. So let's take a look. Blocking some of the text. All right. So let's move on. So 今天我们来讲一下介绍一个城市 how to introduce a city. I'm gonna learn some new vocabulary. So 我们先看一下生词。第一个生词是首都，首都 means capital. The capital city. 所以中国的首都是哪里 ？Who's next? 燕。中国的首都是哪里？
北京。
Yeah, 北京。Hi, Yvonne，你好。中国的首都是北京。Okay, so 北京在这里。Alright, it's pretty close to where the Yellow River enters the sea. 中国的首都是北京。然后美国的首都是哪里？美国的首都是哪里 ？Yvonne？wait.
Washington D.C.
Yeah, Washington D.C. Anybody knows how to say Washington D.C. in Chinese? Haha.
What?
Washington D.C. in Chinese.
Washington D.C.
Okay, that's pretty close. There are several ways because it's an English name in the first place. So there are several different ways that it's go by. So let's take a look. So we have first the easiest way is called 华府. 华府. Hua is like standing for not for China or Chinese, but standing for 华盛顿. So that's the phonetic translation for 华盛顿, which we have here, 华盛顿. Right, 华盛顿. So that is the sound for Washington, 华盛顿. Fu is like 首府, which means like another word for capital. So 华府. So that's one word for Washington. That's one way to go by it. 华盛顿特区, 特区 means a special district or just like, you know, so 华盛顿特区 is like Washington special district. You can also say 华盛顿 DC, or maybe you can just say DC. So there are a lot of like different names, which again, it's a pretty complicated city, the name, and there are a lot of different versions. So I guess you can just say DC or Washington, DC, just to differentiate that from the state. All right, so 中国的首都，美国的首都，你还知道别的首都吗 ？Anybody knows？还知道别的首都？什么的首都是哪里
I know.
Okay, Leo.
韩国的首都是Seoul.
Yeah, 韩国的首都是 Seoul. About this, there's an interesting story. When I was a student, they changed the name. They changed the Chinese name of Seoul. It used to be called Hancheng. Han is like Han Dynasty Han. Chen is city, so Hancheng. That was the Chinese name of Seoul back then. So I guess Chinese culture had a pretty significant influence. They used to use Chinese character. Korean people used to use Chinese characters for their language as well. So that's kind of like the city. The name of the city was also Hancheng, Han City. But later on, they felt like, oh, now we are getting more better, or for whatever other reason, national identity, I guess. So they changed the name to just a phonetic Seoul, Shou'er. So that's I think it's a pretty interesting story. So Nicole in the chat also said 法国的首都是巴黎 Yes, 巴黎 Paris. Mexico City 是墨西哥的首都 Yes, 非常好 Mexico, 墨西哥, right? Yeah. So 意大利的首都是哪里?
Is Rome, I think. I think
Okay.
it's Rome.
Yeah, Rome.
I've been there, so I should know. Roma.
Rome. So most of the cities are like phonetical. So it sounds pretty similar. 意大利的首都是罗马. Russia 的首都是 Moscow. Moscow is 莫斯科. Russia 俄国俄罗斯俄罗斯的首都是莫斯科. Okay, so all right, so you're certainly above average of American students' geographic knowledge now, since you since you know so much about the different capitals, huh? Okay, so next word, let's take a look. We actually learned this word before, but we're gonna learn some new combinations. 中心 is the center. Okay, so do you guys still remember? Olivia said 英国的首都是伦敦. Very good. London. So 英国 is Britain, or it's technically from England. So that's where the ing sound is from. 英国, England, and Chinese people had a difficult time differentiating England and Britain. So I guess it's I'm not 100% sure, but I felt like it's a mistake, and then like it's so widely misused, and later on they just like go by 英国 anyways. So 英国的首都是伦敦，非常好。我们来看一下这里中心活动中心。Anybody remembers what that is? 活动中心。Anyone in the chat? Victoria?
No.
No.
I remember what.
Is it a place you exercise?
Victoria, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?
I don't remember what Dong is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. It was in the direction unit when Chang Lao Shi and Bai Yin Ai, they were talking about directions, where are you going, stuff like that.
Is it a gym?
活动中心, kind of pretty similar. 活动 means activity, right? So 活动中心 is an activity center. And it's usually like in colleges, they have Yvonne? Oh, I thought you wanted to say something. So in colleges, they have like a 大学生活动中心, so activity centers for the college student. So they have like gym, they have I don't know, the college that I went to, they have like a performance hall, they have a gym like with equipment for workout, they have a ping pong room, they have a basketball court, badminton courts, and I think they have all internet cafe, movie theater, etc. A lot of different stuff. So that's 活动中心 activity center. So if some might be community activity center. So depends on the specific building. They might have different amenities. 运动中心 is more specific for 运动. So anybody remember 运动？运动有人知道吗？运动
Exercise.
Yes, exercise 非常好。So 运动中心 is an exercise center, so it's more like maybe like YMCA type of thing. 运动中心, so you do. Yeah. Do you know there's a Chinese version of YMCA? Oh, I don't know if it's Chinese or not.
Wait, is it still called YMCA?
Yeah, it's called YMCA, and it's like I don't know. I don't remember if the song is.
Is it like a knockoff version?
Hold on. Just 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. I'll put it in the chat if people's interested. And the singer is a pretty famous Taiwanese performer, and he is the judge of like a lot of singing variety shows. Okay, maybe this one. It's from Taiwan. YMCA. I wanted to find a music video or like his live performance. He's a pretty interesting guy. There's no music video. Alright, too bad.
Tragedy.
Alright, just posted this. I'll just post a link to the song. Or maybe this one?
Ooh.
Yeah, okay, alright. I can this one. If you're interested, you can take a look. It's in the chat on the YouTube. Alright, so let's move on. Last one, 购物中心. 购物中心 is购物中心 is a shopping center. So 购物 means shopping, to buy things. 中心 is a center. So 购物中心 is a shopping center. However, there's a big difference between Chinese shopping center and American shopping center. American shopping mall, usually it's like flat, right? You have a big parking lot. It's very spread out. You don't have like a lot of maybe you have some. It's not like a high rise. But in China, most of the shopping centers, most of the shopping malls are just like one gigantic building. So think that as what is that thing called at a Columbus Circle? There's a mall. You know what I'm talking about? That mall at the Oh, Skyview. Maybe like a Skyview. More like a Skyview. Yeah. But also like usually they have like I don't know, 8 stories. Not including like basement. So like underground they might have like 2 to 3 levels too. So it's like 10 stories plus altogether, and like each story is very big. Usually you have a food court in the basement, and the top floor usually is like a movie theater, and you have like going from like first floor usually is luxurious items, cosmetics, second floor female clothing, third floor male clothing, going up and up. So that's kind of like the Chinese shopping mall, 中国的购物中心. So it's a little bit different. All right, so the new centers we're going to learn here are those 3. So the first one, 政治中心. 政治中心. Victoria, can you read after me? 政治中心.
政治中心。
政治中心.
政治中心。
Excellent. 非常好. So 政治 means politics, political. So 政治中心 is a political center. Usually it's the capital. So 中国的政治中心是哪里 Leo?
Beijing.
Yes. 那美国的政治中心是哪里 Yvonne? 美国的政治中心是哪里 American political center, you have no idea? Come on, we just talked about that. Back. Here. 是
华府。
Yeah, 华府 OK. So 美国的政治中心是华府 Or you can just say 华盛顿 DC. Next one, 经济中心 Economic Center. So 中国的经济中心是 Olivia, 你知道中国的经济中心是哪里吗
I don't know.
Take a guess.
Wall Street or like.
That's a.
中国的
Oh, I have no idea.
Like what are the big
Shanghai?
Yeah, Shanghai. OK, 上海是中国的经济中心。美国的经济中心呢
New York.
Yeah, 纽约 OK, 纽约是美国的经济中心。然后上海是中国的经济中心。Last one, 文化中心 Cultural Center. So 文化 means culture. So 中国的经济中心文化中心是 used to be Beijing. if you're doing any kind of like art related stuff, you have to go to Beijing. Nowadays, everything's a little bit more spread out, so there are more resources everywhere. So 文化中心,
It's all of China.
yeah, like all the major cities. Take hip hop for example. Each region has their like a hip hop club, like they have a name. So Chengdu have like the CDC, where Higher Brothers from, and then other cities like Xi'an, they have also have a group. Chongqing, they have a group. Shanghai, they also have a group. Guangdong, they have like probably several groups. Beijing, they have also have like several groups. So it's pretty interesting. So 文化中心, which is a good thing. Now it's like, you're gonna see more dynamics, all of the different cultures from different part of China. All right, so character, just very quickly, I want to talk about the right side of zhen. Pay attention to this one and the right side of fan. Okay, they look pretty similar, especially if you don't write like very standard writing like what we see here. It might, ended up looking very similar to each other. So you have to learn the stroke order. Okay, so this one is just a fan, right? And the right side is fan, which means reversed. And for the zhen, the right side is called fan wenpang. So if you take a look at this, it's kind of look fan, but it's also look like the wen, like 中文, 英文, the character wen. It's just the dot is kind of reversed. Right? So if we put the dot this way, it looks more like the wen character, 中文, 英文. So fan and the wen combined together, I guess. That's why it's called fan wenpang. So pay attention to those two those two parts. A lot of students mix them up all the time. So know the differences, and especially like know when you're writing it, what kind of stroke order you should follow. Like this is when stroke order is very important, because a lot of times like people, if you don't follow the correct stroke order, you don't write a character like 100% correct. And in some cases, if you're writing a call in the wrong stroke order, there's no misunderstanding. But if you don't, it's just like a poorly written call. However, if you don't follow stroke order for those two parts, and you're gonna like write this part like this section, like the fan, and then it's actually going to be a wrong character. So make sure you follow the stroke order when you're writing this thing. And this part is actually pretty commonly seen, so you don't want to make that mistake all the time. So again, I put an animation of the strokes there. Just make sure you follow the stroke order carefully with each of those two characters. So those are the two components. Looks very similar, but they are actually very different. They share nothing in common. All right, so it's called 反文旁. Let's move on to the next one. Next word is 4-character idioms. So idioms are, in my opinion, very important. That really shows you can pretend. Let's say like, Chinese, there are 10 levels of Chinese, and you're actually at level 3 or level 4, and you use some idioms, people would think you are actually at level 6. So that's a way to cheat and impress people, make them think that your Chinese is actually better than it actually is. So this is an idiom, 名胜古迹. Olivia, can you read after me? 名胜古迹. 名胜古迹.
名胜古迹.
Excellent, 非常好. So 名胜古迹 means special spots, scenic spots, and historical sites. So 名胜 is like a famous scenic spots. 古迹 is historical sites. So 名胜古迹. It's used together basically to describe anything like tourist attractions. 所以你知道哪些名胜古迹? Doesn't have to be 中国的. Any 名胜古迹 that you know, Yvonne? 你知道哪些名胜古迹? 美国的, 中国的?
Does the Empire State Building count?
Okay, yeah. So Empire State Building, continue, finish the sentence.
Empire
是
State Building 一个非常有名的名胜古迹。
非常好，谢谢。Victoria，你知道哪些名胜古迹吗？
Uh,
It can be
Central
anything
Park.
from.
Central Park
Okay, so
是
finish
一
the
个
sentence.
那 Central Park 是一个非常有名的名胜古迹。
Excellent，非常好。Oh, we have Tina saying 长城和天坛是非常有名的名胜古迹。Okay, so 长城, the Great Wall, 长城. Tiantan is a temple of heaven, which is also in Beijing. 是一个非常有名的名胜古迹。So here, when I was putting that sentence in, I was not sure because 非常有名 and 名胜古迹, 名胜, like it's a little bit repetitive. And I looked online. I think like there are people actually say things like that. So I guess it's okay. But technically, it's a little bit. There's like what's the word? Redundant. It's a little bit redundant. 非常有名的名胜古迹 because you have the 名 in the word 名胜古迹. But it feels not right to just say 长城是一个名胜古迹. I don't know. It's just like it's not very specific. Why do you want to say that? So I guess I'll just go with that. So if you're feeling like, oh, 非常有名的名胜古迹, it might be a little bit redundant. Yes, it actually is. But I think it's acceptable in the most case, especially at your level. So let's take a look at the time. Let's take a look at this. All right, so there's a link in the slide, which is a Chinese site that I find 中国的10大名胜古迹, so the top 10 Chinese historical sites. 我们来看一下，简单的看一下。第一个，万里长城 ，so 长城 the Great Wall。北京的故宫 the Forbidden Palace 故宫。One of the things about northern architecture is that it's very symmetrical, and you can take a look at this how it's almost all very symmetrical. And the southern Chinese culture they don't do a lot of symmetrical stuff. Next one, 桂林山水. So this is a very famous city called Guilin, and the sceneries are very famous there. And can I zoom in a little bit? Yeah. Okay, so 桂林山水. So it's more natural scenic spots. If that's what you like, and the weather there is it's in southern China, so the weather is pretty nice there as well. Next one, Hangzhou, Xihu. So when we were talking about cities, I was hoping someone can mention Hangzhou. Hangzhou is basically definitely one of my favorite cities in China, and they have the famous West Lake, and Hangzhou is very close to Shanghai. Probably take I don't know 1 or 2 hours on train to get there. A lot of people is going to go to Shanghai if they go to China, and Nanjing and Hangzhou, they are all very close. So you can basically do a day trip if you're like staying in Shanghai. Next one is Suzhou Yuanling. Suzhou is another city that is very close to Shanghai again. So their garden is very famous. And when I was little, I didn't appreciate it that much. Like I think like what's the big deal about all those buildings? And when I grow older and I go back, I start to see like how one of the things about the Suzhou gardening is that it's not like northern style, very symmetric, and it's not like a Western gardening. Usually it's like a very well designed, trimmed, make things look neat and clean cut. The Suzhou gardening is try to mimic more like natural scenics, and when they're designing the garden, like when you're taking a walk in the garden, every step that you take is going to change the perspective, how you see the garden, and it's kind of like changed the scene a little bit. So you're not like just walking in a vast grass field and like all and like basically what you see is the same. It's try to play the Suzhou gardening and maybe like a southern Chinese garden in general. They try to play with the space and then try to like design it so that it has a lot of like obstacles, blocks your view. So at this angle you see that much, and then if you change to another angle you're gonna see a different view. So I think later on as I grow older, I start to appreciate more. I think it's very interesting. See, it's not like when you look at this picture, it's not like when you walk into the garden, like you see the whole garden. They use different like fake rock mountains, or actually just rock mountains, fake mountains, to block the views and like creating obstacles so that it's not like everything under one side. So that's a very interesting design perspective of it. Number 6, Huangshan, Yellow Mountain. If you're only going to one mountain in China, you should probably go to Huangshan, which has the best scenic. And because the environment is a little bit humid during the most time of the year, so you're gonna see a lot of like when you get to the top of the mountain, you're like I guess you're like basically like kind of like staying in a cloud. Some part of the mountain maybe like it's above the cloud, so that's pretty cool. Very like heavenly. Sanxia, the Three Gore, they built a dam, which is still like in debate of its environmental influence, but the Three Gore, the upper part of the Yangtze River, is a very scenic spot too. 日月潭, this is a little bit controversial. It's from Taiwan, so some people say like, oh, it's not in China. So that is all the way in Taiwan. And Chengde Bishu Shanzhuang. So this is a summer retreat of the Qing Dynasty's royal family's retreat. So in the summer, they just the royal family go there to for their summer retreat. So it's pretty nice. I've never been there. Last one is the terracotta army. So Qing Bing Ma Yong, which is close to the city of Xi'an. All right, so these are the Chinese list on this a list of Chinese 名胜古迹. Again, we're talking about the word 名胜古迹. So these are the list of 名胜古迹 that made it to the list on this Chinese site. Okay, well, I'll quickly wrap up everything. It's running a little bit long. So we're gonna learn one grammar point here. Adjective 的不得了, adjective 的不得了. So basically, it's pretty much like 极了 or other degree adverb. So you can say 中国菜好吃的不得了. For example, 中国菜好吃的不得了. It's extremely tasty. And you can just basically replace 不得了 with 好吃极了. 好吃极了. So itself, the structure itself is pretty straightforward. So 纽约的冬天, we can just say 纽约的冬天冷的不得了, extremely cold. 大学的学费贵的不得了, extremely expensive. For the sake of time, I'm gonna skip the sentence for you guys to make. There are a couple of things I want to say. First of all, 的不得了 here functions very similar to degree adverbs, so you can replace that with 极了, 饿得不得了, 饿极了. They are pretty similar. For the most part, you can use them interchangeably. And the other thing that I'm blocking that again. The other thing I want to say is that I'm going to introduce this idea of 多音字, characters with multiple sounds. So there are some Chinese characters have multiple sounds, which adds a little bit more confusion to learning the language. So here, as you can see, the first 的 is read as like the 的 that we know. 他跑步跑得很快. This is something we've learned already. The second 的 is read as 得, so the second tone. 不得了. We actually have another sound 得. So there are like multiple sounds of some characters. And the different sounds usually indicating different meaning or different usage for that character. So this the E, I marked that as E. The E, it connects verb and or adjectives with the adverb. Again, the example you should all know is 他跑步跑得很快，跑步跑得很快。So you are using this the to connect 跑步, 跑, and then and the adjective is 快，跑得快, right? So to show the modification relationship, and then this de, I think it's easier maybe just to take the whole thing as a package. 不得了 means extraordinarily, terrific. So if you did something awesome, and like usually like all the some seniors gonna like older people of the family, your uncle, your grandparents gonna say, oh, 厉害厉害，不得了, thumbs up. So 不得了 means extraordinarily, terrific, great. So you can remember that as a phrase altogether. So and then also the last one, this character is also 多音字. We've usually learned that as le, right? 吃了吗？吃了. So usually indicating a completion of change of an action of change of or a change of status. 要下雨了. So here it's pronounced as 了. So that's why it's a little bit easier just to think, that as just one special package. Remember it all together, 不得了, instead of trying to understand what does 得 mean, what does this 了 mean. All right, so the exercise, let's maybe quickly do that. Starting from Yan. Okay, so we have all the words here we talked about, and we're going to do a close exercise just to put the character into, there are 6 slots here. So 北京是中国的盐.
首都
All right, very good. 北京是中国的首都. Continue. Next is Victoria. 是中国的什么和什么中心? 北京是中国的
北京是中国的文化
new word. 政治
政治的中心.
Excellent. Okay, so no worries. These are new words. So if you haven't remembered them, you can work on that later on. Next line, Leo. 北京有很多
有名
北京有很多有名有很多 it has to be a noun, right?
wait
The long one.
名是wait
Yes.
I
古
don't know the last two.
迹
古迹
Okay, what does it mean?
like monuments, like big things.
Okay. Monuments, famous sites, tourist attractions, historical sites. So 北京有很多名胜古迹. So there are a lot of sites for you to famous sites for you to visit. Okay. Next is 延最 something 的是长城和故宫.
最有名的是长城和故宫.
Okay, so 长城 is 长城是什么?
The Great Wall.
And 故宫呢?
The Forbidden Palace.
The Forbidden Palace. Okay, very good. 最有名的 the most famous is 长城和故宫. And last line, Olivia. 北京
北京好吃的
东西
多
的the phrase 不得 Okay, let me go back. 不得 Yeah, 不得了. Okay, I went that pretty fast. So again, this character has two two pronunciations. Le, right? We usually know that as le, but here it's pronounced as liao. So again, try to remember that as a whole package together. 不得了. Okay, 北京的好吃的东西多得不得了. So there are a lot of good stuff to eat. 我最想去吃的是北京烤鸭. So Peking duck. There's also, if you go to Beijing, there's also this thing called 豆汁儿, which is a very unique soybean-based drink for breakfast. And some people like it. And I tried it. It tastes very weird and I didn't like it. But if you go to Beijing and you're having breakfast, you might want to give it a try for this exotic experience. All right, so lastly, homework. So try to use the words we've learned today. There are about six new words, right? And you need to practice a little bit and get familiar with that. So you're going to choose one city and answer those questions. Is it a capital city? You're going to use the word 首都. Is it a political or cultural center? 政治中心, 文化中心. Some scenic spots for that. If you couldn't find the name in Chinese, then you can just write that in English. Or historical sites. Just that part. If you can find a Chinese version of that, you can try to do that in Chinese. The best way for I think to find a place's name or specific English term in Chinese is to go use Wikipedia and switch the language to Chinese. And then usually that's the best title because sometimes Google Translation, it doesn't know this term or this place and it's going to give you a weird translation. And what can people do there? So that's a little bit like prior knowledge. Try to use whatever word you can think of to put in there. Special food from that city. Okay, again, same. The food itself, if you can find the Chinese version, you can put that in English. And try to use the words in today's lesson. All right, so that's it for today. And any questions?
No.
No? Okay, everything all good. All right, so remember, do the homework, practice the words we've learned today, and see you guys next.
I have a
Yes,
question.
yes,
Will one of the assessments replace our lowest grade?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So, for everybody who's here and who you might be watching the video later on, make sure you do a good job in the second assessment because it's going to be used to replace your lowest test grade, and that is major. Like it's going to help your grade so much if you did bad on one of the exams. So
Wait,
take
but
it.
what if you already have 100?
I don't think. Do you have all hundreds for this?
I have I think I do. I don't know. Wait, let me check too fast.
Well, I don't know. I don't think anybody have all like the Leo. It's replacing your lowest grade, not replacing your highest test grade. Okay. So I don't think you have 100 like throughout the whole school year.
Okay.
All right. So even
okay.
if it's gonna help everybody. So take advantage of that, and bye. 再见.
Bye, Mr. Chiu.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. 再见. Thanks for joining the class.